Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another set of Genshin Impact reactions. Today we have a Spark Forged in Ash, followed by Prayer in a Land of War. These of course were requested by Harshit, and a lot of people wanted me to get to these, so that's what I'll be doing today. I think this might be one of the highest liked individual comments in a hot minute, so that's exciting. It means people really want me to get to it. Maybe that's just because one of them is like a newer boss or something, but that's about all I have for info, and I guess without further ado, let's go! Okay. The atmospheric start, that haunting, whispery scream moving between the ears. I wouldn't say it's an aggressive way to start, but it definitely sets an aggressive tone right out the gate. This is such a weird tone for Genshin. I don't recall ever hearing a sound like this. And that's an interesting choice of synth too. It's like an 80s Call of Duty lobby. What a weird tone. Synthwave zombies. Huh. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. This is weird. So like I said, this is a tone I don't think I've ever encountered in Genshin. This is such an interesting sound because I've encountered the vibe they're going for, the energy they're going for, which is definitely like barren wasteland for sure. There's just an emptiness to this. There's that like washy sort of like static sound going between the ears that's supposed to be wind, I'm sure. So like that cascading over a barren wasteland is the immediate imagery I got. It's just decay, death in its wake. Whatever we're standing in or looking at is something that must be completely negated of life. Like there's nothing else going on there. And I just get like, you know, when they say like a song gives you a color, this is gray. There's not really much else to it. I can't think of any other color it would be. It's just a very neutral, very dead sounding song. It's got tension to it. It has a little bit of suspense. It's more haunting than anything else. It's not like it's an immediate threat is coming up to you or anything, but there is this looming air, this presence around you, but clearly there's nothing for miles, and that's the vibe you're getting with this one. And it's in a different way from those other ones where I could feel that there was once life in the history here. I don't think that any of this has life. And if it did, at some point, it's either been completely eradicated to the point of just forgetting even its past, or it never really had any to begin with, or nothing notable, you know, like maybe just it was a field or something at one point, but now it's just a barren wasteland of rock and dirt that has nothing going for it. That's the vibe, and that's why it's very interesting to me that this is what they're going for, because like I said, it's kind of zombies-esque, but it had that synth in there, which would usually be a signifier to me of nostalgia and trying to reach back to those older times, but this didn't really have that in any other facet of the song. That was the only thing that felt like it was trying to reach for that like nostalgic bit. So my guess here is that they were just using that as like an offsetting tone, because nostalgia sometimes does lean into the uncanny valley when you can't see the extra details when things were analog it kind of has this static effect in your mind and your memory. So maybe that's more what they were going for here, going for a sound that sounded older and fits a different aesthetic to make you feel more out of place. So that would work really well in something like a barren wasteland where there's just nothing. And I don't know, I didn't really feel any history in this one like I did that other one. Like I said, there really wasn't much to go on. There was a little bit with that piano at the end. It's almost like there is this one singular echo that's just in the abyss, and you're just like, is there something there? Like, did I hear something? I feel like that's all, though. It wasn't nearly as aggressive as the other ones were with like trying to connect it to a past of some sort, trying to make it significant in that way. It's just dead. It's empty, and you have to exist in this space. So the best way to do that for sound design and audio is making little individual plucks of a piano, because those are all individually solo and therefore stand on their own, even if they're in a sequence like this. Each one rang out with enough decay that it didn't feel connected to another one before or after it. And then, of course, the sound design of having that like static wind sort of sound in there, and it's just, And even with that spot at the end where you could hear the key on the piano fully depressed, and like you got that texture in there as well. So that's another detail to me that signifies loneliness, or just that extra detail of having that solo note have all of that pressure fully articulated in its sound, instead of softening it and improving it with other things, or removing that texture in order to make the song sound a little bit cleaner. You want a little bit of that dirt, because this shit's old, and everything in the sound design is screaming old, forgotten, maybe a little bit detuned, and just not really there for anything. So I wonder, I mean, like the title, A Spark Forged in Ash, makes me wonder if there is something at the end trying to spark in a land of ash, something like that. But maybe I'm just reading too far into that part. Either way, gray, dead, desolate, barren wasteland is my best guess for this one. Now I have to hear what Prayer in a Land of War has, which that title alone, just starting with the title, already gives me an idea, but I have no clue what I'm about to hear. So let's go. Okay, boss music. So this is the one that was boss music. So is the other one like an intro sequence to this? Like, whatever you're facing now is in that wasteland? That could be. See, it still has that motif in the sound of like the individual keys. It does have a bass line, but it's super simple, and they really drag it out. That's an interesting sample in there too, whatever that like clicking is. Ooh. See, this has a lot more intensity to it, but if this is a boss theme, that would make a lot of sense. Same thing with the choir backing it up. But the soloist, again, going for that, like, isolation. Where's it going? Ooh. Oh, what? That was a wild transition. And it's still building on top of what it was doing earlier. But there's more going on now. Well, now I'm confused. Okay. Giant brass section. Still trying to hold on to that big, powerful energy. But it almost sounds desperate. And I don't know if what's desperate is you or the boss. That's a really interesting boss theme. It felt like there was more emotion in there than the usual boss theme has. There's definitely something about the bravado of this one that's making me really interested, but also very confused, because it has the bravado. It has this power of like, I am a boss, I am a big threat, please fear me. But also, it does feel a little bit more personal than that. It feels a little bit more intense and emotional than that, in a way that most boss themes don't tend to unless they're a human. So is this character a human? I don't know. All I really caught was that it was a boss theme. I don't know what character this is, so to speak. I don't know if it's a person or a thing. If it's a thing, I'm trying to figure out, like, if it's a monster and not like a human, how that might adjust, like what that would mean for the character. Maybe they're a very old storied boss of some sort, like something that has been around for hundreds, maybe thousands of years, and has that presence and that big bravado to go with that sound and the backing of the choir kind of like singing its praises, and also a threat, but also this individual solo voice that's like, I may be this big threat, but also I'm here. This is me. That's it. That's about all you get. What you get is what you see. And even though this definitely has the scale to make me believe that this character is probably fucking huge, which is why I'm leaning towards it being a monster, not a human, it's also something where I'm like, is it though? Like, is it lonely? Or is that just because of its age? Because sometimes, and that also backs into the other theme, if these two are truly related, in that like the other one is a precursor to this one, where that loneliness that I was feeling in the first one, that like completely abandoned sensation that the song was giving off, that makes me feel like maybe this character, this creature, is kind of in its own right alone, but also I don't know. It's such a weird sensation. Again, it's not often you get songs that are this storied and this dense with this many different emotional ties that are just creatures and don't have some other deeper connection to the lore of an area or the story. And if it's a boss, it very well could be. I just don't have the information to assume that. So all I can do is assume. And I'm stuck here wondering, how deep does that go if that individualism is being showcased in both of these themes? Is this character alone? Is this some sort of like a fight for them to be like, please don't leave me? I feel like that's not quite right. Again, if it's not a human, I doubt that the emotions are going to be quite that deep. But maybe it's like I've worked too damn long to be as strong as I am, and I'm not going to go down here sort of boss, like almost Shadow of the Colossus in a way, where it's just like, I've been here roaming these lands for this many years, and I'm not going to let a comparative ant to my massive scale kick my ass, damn it. And maybe that's the relationship. Oh, that's so difficult, because it's been a while since I've heard a song that did this, and I'm pretty sure the last one was a human, or at least a god. So that's usually what I'm expecting when I hear these these sorts of things. So maybe, in my best guess here, if it's not a human of some sort or a god of some sort, maybe it's some old monster with a huge history, something that has been a legend for many, many years and just has that energy to go with it, has that bravado, has that, I guess you could call it a pedigree to an extent, a legend of sorts, potentially, but not necessarily emotionally so as much as it is just making sure that you as the player and the one hearing the song are fully encompassed in that awareness that this thing is a threat because it's been here so damn long and nobody's been able to truly get rid of it, and you might be the first one. So there's that emotion of just like the I'm not going down here because I've been here too long holding this place and I'm not about to give it up. So maybe that's what's going on. Oh, this is a very intriguing one. I usually don't get too deep into these unless I know it's like a character theme, because those are a lot easier to be like, oh, well, it's a character. Let me read the personality of why this could be happening for the character, why this could relate to certain emotions and decisions. But this one, not knowing and being more fairly certain it's probably a creature or a monster, makes me view that in a very interesting light. So, a weird one, but also a really beautiful song, well composed. But like, it feels like they put in a lot of work for what was probably just a monster theme. But I guess that is kind of par for the course with Genshin. Let's just throw all resources and effort at what seems to be not a big deal, but is to the people who write for it. And that's always going to lead to a better product at the end of the day. So great job there. Also just kind of threw me through a loop there. But I think I've yapped enough, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you have something else from Genshin you want me to get to, by all means, drop it in the comments below, and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you don't have anything and you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!